Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. David De Gea could stay at Manchester United. Solskjaer has said the battle between De Gea and Dean Henderson is healthy. Solskjaer said that David De Gea is not happy losing his spot. Now, some Man United fans think it would be a mistake letting him go in the summer transfer window. Now, it recently said that David De Gea has made his transfer decision. He's preparing to leave Manchester United. It says we've set the price for De Gea, it's £50 million. It says 3 clubs are chasing him, that's Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid and PSG. And it said not so long ago that we will pay off his huge contract. De Gea has like 2 years left on his current contract and he's on £375,000 a week. That is a substantial amount. De Gea has been at Manchester United around 10 years now, so he's been a long servant. He's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. I reckon he's had around 8 good years out of the 10 years he's been here, because in the last couple of years he has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he's made. Yet a few years ago he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. He has won everything domestically at the football club. He's made over 500 appearances in all competitions. When he does leave Manchester United, I think there's a very good chance he will go back to Spain. Main explanations is because he was born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend's from Spain. He began his footballing career in Spain, and back in 2015 he was very close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine on deadline day the deal never materialised. Earlier on this season, De Gea wasn't available because he was out due to personal reasons. I think Dean Henderson is our number one now. I said, didn't I, that Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one, because he has got that experience behind him. He did enjoy 2 successful loans with Sheffield United, and he's done well in the games he's been involved in this season. He started our last 7 games in a row. Obviously, if he starts in goal tonight against Granada, that'll be 8 games in a row. But Dean Henderson, he's kept a lot of clean sheets. He's made good saves, his distribution's been good, and he's made some good aerial claims. And he's still young and he's got a lot of development in him. Before the start of this season, he signed a 6-year contract with Man United. There's quite a lot of players that will stay in the summer transfer window, and there's a few players that have got long-term futures at Manchester United. Luke Shaw, he'll definitely stay. Luke Shaw's been one of our best players this season. Luke Shaw's shown good attacking intent. He's provided width. He's got in very good positions. His crossing's been good, and defensively he's been superb. Said earlier on this season we are preparing to enter contract talks with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has like 2 years left on his current contract. I think he's had a good career at Man United. Apart from his injuries, Shaw's been at the club over 6 years. He still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Harry Maguire, he'll also stay in the summer transfer window. I don't know if he's going to be with us long term. Maguire has had some good games at Manchester United, but he's also endured bad games as well. But he wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. Harry Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive sign at the club behind Paul Pogba. Victor Lindelof, I think he'll stay in the summer transfer window. But I don't think we'll have Victor Lindelof long term. I've always had my strong reservations about Lindelof because he's always been a pretty slow player, to be honest with you. And he's careless a lot at the back. And in the vast majority of his games at Man United, he has been inconsistent. Lindelof's been at the club a few years now. We got him in a deal worth 31 million from Benfica. He had a back injury not so long ago. And Wan-Bissaka, he'll stay. I think he's got a long-term future at Manchester United. And Wan-Bissaka has done well in some games, but he's done poor in other games. In the games he's played well in, he's showed good attacking intent. He's got into very good positions. His crossing's been good, and defensively he's been superb. But in the games he's been poor in, he's been caught out far too many times, and he's lacked that attacking intent. He needs to show more attacking intent. We got him in a deal worth 50 million from Palace. Fred, I think he'll stay in the summer transfer window. Fred is not at that level where I want him to be at. And I can assure he wasn't worth the £52 million we got him for from Shakhtar Donetsk. Fred has enjoyed some good games at Man United where he's got forward well, he's kept the ball well, at times he's read his game well. But he's also enjoyed poor games where he gets dispossessed far too many times. He gives the ball away as well. So yeah. McTominay, he'll also stay. McTominay is a decent player, but he's not at that level where I want him to be at yet. So I'm saying the exact same thing as what I've just said regarding Fred. McTominay's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. Just after the first lockdown last year, he signed a 5-year contract with the club, so he committed his future with Man United. McTominay has been part of the club for a while. Bruno Fernandes, he'll obviously stay in the summer transfer window. Bruno Fernandes is our best player and is the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era because he has made a difference in the team. When Fernandes plays well, he scores goals, he creates chances, he makes very good runs. His hold-up play can also be good. In most of his games at Man United, he's been very consistent, but there's also been a few games where he has looked off the pace, but we have overplayed him. Fernandes has been at Man United now over a year. Don't forget he did say on his 12-month anniversary back in January that he's planning on spending many years at Manchester United. Fernandes recently had an argument with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer during the game against Brighton. But Fernandes said, didn't he? He come to Manchester to win trophies, so he denies that he needs a rest. Fernandes has won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Mason Greenwood, he'll obviously stay. I think he's got a long-term future at Manchester United. He's been superb since he broke into our first team squad. Greenwood made his senior debut in 2019. Greenwood's been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been with us a long time now. Earlier on this season, he signed a 4-year contract with the club. He deserved a new contract, reflecting on his good performances. And Ollie's been defending Greenwood a lot this season. Some people think we should put Greenwood as our new number 9. You know, few times we've played Greenwood centrally and a few times we've played him on that right wing. So where do you think he's more effective, from out wide or playing centrally? Marcus Rashford, he's also another player that will stay. Marcus Rashford has become injury prone because he has sustained a few injuries now at Manchester United. I just think we need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide on the left because that's where he's more effective. You know, a couple of times we've played him on the right wing and a few times we've played him centrally. Rashford has been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And Amad Diallo Traore will also, he'll stay. I said he looks a good asset for the first team squad. He scored his first goal for the club in the first leg of the Europa League against AC Milan. Very, very good goal it was as well. Good header. He's close now to his first start. He's Amad Diallo Traore. You know, could see him playing a part tonight. We got him in a deal worth £37 million. You know, paid 19 million up front and the rest was in add-ons. Daniel James, I think he'll also stay because Daniel James has got his way back into the team now. He's been playing a lot of football in the last month and a half or so. But at one point, he lost his place in the team and there was obviously a lot of narratives coming out about him leaving Man United. We got Daniel James in a deal worth £18 million from Swansea. But yeah, these players that are going to leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. So reflecting on that will generate money and it'll help us with our rebuilding process. So Romero, I'm expecting us to offload him. Phil Jones, I'm also expecting us to offload him. Phil Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. This is his 10th season at Man United, so he's always been a long servant. But Phil Jones has always been inconsistent. You know, he's been out with injury for over a year. Maxwell Tuanzebe, could we offload him? Because he doesn't get in our 11. Eric Bay, could we offload him in the summer transfer window? Bay's obviously out at the moment because of COVID. It recently said we want just 17 million to let Eric Bay leave for Inter Milan because Inter Milan have expressed an interest. Now, as far as I'm aware, contract talks have been on hold for Eric Bay because he wants assurances over his playing time because he has lost his place in the team. Now, it said the other week that Bay apologised to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his Man United teammates for his disrespectful behaviour because he said he felt disrespected and not wanted by Ole. And he says he believes we're only offering him a new contract to simply increase his asking price. Bay's got like 15 months left on his current contract. I'd like him to stay potentially past the summer because he's a good centre-half. But he's injury prone. So in that aspect, he is a liability. Alex Telles, you know, he could leave in the summer transfer window because he hasn't been given a lot of opportunities, has he, since he's come in. He's played nowhere near as much as I expected. When we got Telles last summer, I expected him to be our first choice left back. Yeah, again, at one point he did have COVID. There's been talks of a swap deal between Telles and Nuno Mendes. We got Telles in a deal worth 15.4 million. But to be honest with you, I prefer Shaw to Alex Telles because Shaw gets forward better. But in some of the games Telles has been involved in, I think he's done quite well. Paul Pogba, there's a chance that he'll leave in the summer transfer window. There again, there's also a chance he'll stay potentially past the summer. Now, DiMarzio said not so long ago that Paul Pogba still wants to quit Manchester United and he's rejected a new contract. Damasio said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract and his preferred destination is Juventus. I said if Pogba leaves, there's a very good chance he'll go back to Juventus because he did endure 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. And Juventus have been keen on a Paul Pogba swap deal. Not so long ago it said that Juventus were willing to offer us Paulo Dybala as part of a swap deal for Pogba. And it even said they was willing to offload Rabiot and Ramsey to afford Pogba. Fabrizio Romano said that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing him. But recent reports have said that Juventus have apparently told Paul Pogba's agent Mino Raiola cannot afford Paul Pogba. So reflecting on that, it said Paul Pogba could be set to sign a new contract at Manchester United. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say not so long ago that Paul Pogba's future lies at Old Trafford. And he said earlier on this season, Ollie, that he hopes Paul Pogba will stay and sign a new contract. And he revealed that we had been in contract negotiations with him. He hadn't only been linked to return to Juventus, Real Madrid have been in for Pogba before, and so too have PSG, so he's had a long-running transfer saga. We've been getting the best out of Pogba in recent months. Paul Pogba does bring creativity to the team. And I think he's more effective in more of an advanced role, like on that left-hand side. I'm not keen on Paul Pogba in a deeper role. He started in that deeper role against Brighton. That was his first start in the Premier League for over 2 months because Pogba was out with a thigh injury for a while. He was out for the first part of this season with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he's sustained a few injuries now at Manchester United. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with the club till June 2022. And if he stays potentially past the summer, there's a good chance he'll leave on a free next year, unless if he signs a new contract. Mino Raiola has obviously been desperate to get his client out of the football club. A few weeks ago, he criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Paul Pogba out when he was younger. I presume all United fans disagreed with Mino Raiola criticising Ferguson. And he said he doesn't give a fuck if he doesn't take another player to Man United as long as his clients are happy. Did say though earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season. And he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer. Because Mino Raiola doesn't have a good relationship with the club and he's being criticised a lot. And he made the announcement back in December regarding Pogba. And Solskjaer was furious with his announcement. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment. We paid £89 million for him. Nemanja Matic, there's a good chance that we'll sell him in the summer transfer window because he's not one of our first choice midfielders. Donny van de Beek, I think we should sell him in the summer transfer window. The main explanation is because he's not getting enough opportunities. If he was getting enough opportunities, then I'd be saying different. I'd say keep him because he is a good player. Not so long ago, it said that we are considering a Donny van de Beek swap deal. And 2O Sports said we could offer Donny van de Beek to Juventus in exchange for Adrien Rabiot. Most of Van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Ronald de Boer believes Donny van de Beek can be a success at Manchester United. But earlier on this season, it said that Van de Beek still feels loved at the club. That was according to Ronald de Boer, despite his lack of game time. But prior to that, it said that Van de Beek wants to quit the club after 1 season due to his lack of game time, and it said he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. Now, ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Van de Beek because we was reluctant to let him go. We got him in a deal worth £40 million last summer from Ajax. And he's versatile, he can play in 3 different roles. Juan Mata, there's a good chance we'll offload him. Because Juan Mata doesn't get in our 11. Towards the start of this season, Juan Mata rejected an $18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Mata's current contract expires in June. There's an option to trigger his contract for a further year. I think in a lot of the games he's been involved in, he's been consistent. Mata's been at Man United now over 6 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. And Edinson Cavani, it looks very, very likely that he's going to be leaving the club. Footballer Insider said that Cavani's willing to take a pay cut to join Boca Juniors. He already has a verbal agreement with Boca Juniors. Said the other week that we held showdown talks with Edinson Cavani over his future at the club, and we want to convince him to stay. And all he said earlier on this season, he's hopeful that Cavani will stay, and he revealed that we had been in contract negotiations with him. But all he said earlier on this season, he was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. His father came out earlier on this season, Cavani's, and said that he's unhappy, he's not comfortable in England, and he wants to leave. Cavani's sustained a few injuries at Man United, but I think he's made an impact since he's come in. There's been a few games where he hasn't got enough service and he's looked isolated. But yeah, we got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with the club with an option of a 2nd year. And there's a lot of Manchester United fans that are saying we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer transfer window because he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for him, but he hasn't converted them. Martial's out of injury now. He sustained the injury whilst he was on international duty with France. Solskjaer said it's likely he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. This year's summer transfer window is massive for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United. Recent reports said that Manchester United will spend big in the summer transfer window, but Solskjaer wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. I reckon Solskjaer needs around £200 million at least if he's to get the players he wants to recommend in. I've already identified the areas where Man United need to strengthen up. I think we need to get a forward in, we need to get a right winger in, we need to get a defensive midfielder in, and we also need to get a centre-half in. Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the coronavirus pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. I can assure that Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager in the summer transfer window, and I can assure he'll be Man United manager next season. I said he does deserve another season because Solskjaer has made progress in certain aspects. Solskjaer will not be sacked as Manchester United manager even if we fail to win the Europa League this season. The Europa League is our only chance of winning any silverware this season. If we fail to win it this season, that'll be exactly 4 years without a trophy, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Manchester United manager. But I can assure that we will finish in the top 4 this season in the league. There's a good chance we'll finish second. If we don't finish second, we'll finish third, but that isn't good enough without the Europa League. Solskjaer should get the backing he deserves, by the way, in the summer transfer window. Because obviously we've got John Murtough. He's our director of football. And it was the right decision by the club to get a director of football in. Because I said that's one of the structural changes that we needed. And plus John Murtough knows the club inside out. Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director. He knows the club through thick and thin because he endured 2 decades as a player for Man United. And obviously Michael Carrick knows the club and he's part of the club now. You know, Kieran McKenna's here. Woodward, he's come out several times to show his support for Ollie, even when was enduring them really bad periods. And Woodward believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear, so in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. Ollie has agreed a new 3-year contract worth 30 million. It's likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. Sources at Old Trafford said earlier on this season that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal because Solskjaer's now into the final year of his current 3-year contract. A lot of United fans disagree with us giving him this new contract. You know, a lot of United fans that have been Ollie outs were trending on social media after our 3-1 loss to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. But there's still some Man United fans that are Ollie in that believe he needs more time. I can assure he is our best manager since Ferguson. But I can assure he isn't the long-term manager for Manchester United. I've told you my 2 biggest concerns about Ollie. He hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, and his decision making is my other big concern. Because in a lot of his games at Man United, he has been tactically naive, especially in a lot of the big games this season. But there's been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but he doesn't show that enough. But Solskjaer has gained some managerial experience. He's learnt quite a bit on the job, and he's tried a few different elements. You know, he has been Man United manager now over 2 years. And this is his 2nd full season at the club. We appointed Solskjaer in December 2018. He's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. I think he's in a position he shouldn't be really in. And Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. The main explanation he's still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. That's what saved him. Disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been here now. Solskjaer enjoyed 11 years as a player for Man United, and he flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. But there's positivity regarding Solskjaer. It's not all negativity regarding him, is it? The positivity is that he has made good signings since he come in. He's spent almost £300 million, and so far he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. You know, he's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in. You know, more players are going to leave in the summer, like I've already mentioned. You know, last season, his first full season, he guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us a 3rd place finish, the 2nd highest we've finished since Ferguson. You know, this season, got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, lost 2-0 to City. Got us to the FA Cup quarter-final, and he's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Went on a 14-game unbeaten run before the game against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final as well. We've been very good away from home in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. I like the way Ollie's promoted the youth, and we have enjoyed very good periods under him where we have seen consistency. So they are the positives. But like I've said, in the last 8 years, nothing has changed at Manchester United. You know, despite us sacking 3 managers, you know, despite us overpaying 4 players, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago now. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. The 3 managers we sacked since Ferguson retired was Moyes. We sacked him after 10 months. Worst manager we've ever had. We sacked Van Gaal after 2 years despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years despite him winning 3 trophies, if you want to include the Community Shield. And he also got a second, I think, in his first season. So you can say we enjoyed one good season under Mourinho. In the last 8 years, we've spent over £1 billion. But we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired. A lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go downhill when Ferguson retired, which obviously it has done. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. There'll be more videos coming up soon. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.